Instead, it became a life-changing treasure, selling for nearly $1 million. But this wasn't just any penny. This was a 2001 D. Lincoln cent, hiding a secret that has left collectors around the country stunned. The kind of secret that turns ordinary coins into million-dollar miracles. A dusty kitchen counter scattered with loose change. A man, who had no idea what he was holding, picked up a shiny 2001 D penny. At first glance, it looked normal. Every detail seemed like the pennies he had handled since childhood. But then something caught his eye, a tiny anomaly in the design, barely noticeable to the untrained eye. That small, subtle imperfection would soon turn his casual curiosity into a story that would ripple across the entire numismatic world. Collectors were shocked when the news spread. Dealers started making frantic calls, and coin shows were buzzing with whispers about the elusive 2001 D penny. This wasn't just a matter of rarity. It was the kind of minting mistake that makes a coin worth more than anyone thought possible. Hidden in plain sight for over 2 decades, this penny had remained overlooked in pocket change, under couches, and tucked inside jars of coins. The secret of the 2001 D penny lies in its mint mark. A tiny D stamped at a slightly off angle, paired with a minute doubling effect that most people miss. Experts call this a minting anomaly, but the average collector might just see it as a normal penny. Yet, that subtle difference is why one coin can be worth over $1 million. Dealers are rushing to verify each penny, scanning for that same telltale imperfection, because finding one can change a life overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. An auction in New York revealed a 2001 D penny selling for $1.4 million, more than many people make in a lifetime. The crowd gasped. Some cried. Others couldn't believe their eyes. How could something so small, so ordinary, carry such enormous value? One man's pocket change had turned into a fortune simply because he had the knowledge and the luck to spot the right detail at the right moment. This coin's journey is almost cinematic. From the Philadelphia Mint to the pockets of everyday Americans, it traveled unnoticed, until a single, careful observer realized its worth. Dealers have since traced a handful of other coins with similar minting quirks. Each time one surfaces, the reaction is the same: disbelief, excitement, and a rush to authenticate before it disappears forever. The suspense isn't just in the discovery, it's in the hunt itself. Every roll of pennies, every jar of change, becomes a potential treasure chest. Imagine finding one of these in your own home. It's not a dream, it's reality, and it could happen to anyone. The key is knowing exactly what to look for. Inspect the D mint mark carefully. Look for signs of doubling or a faint extra line near the edges. Check the date for slight inconsistencies in the numerals. And most importantly, compare it to other pennies. The ones worth millions have a unique energy, a subtle yet unmistakable signature that separates them from every other coin in circulation. One man's discovery has changed the way collectors approach pocket change forever. No longer is a roll of pennies just a roll of pennies. Each coin carries potential, the potential to become a million-dollar miracle. Coin shops have reported an influx of people bringing in their old change, shaking hands with dealers, and holding their breaths as experts examine every detail. The thrill is almost unbearable. The truth is, very few. That scarcity is part of what drives the staggering price. Each 2001 D penny with this rare minting anomaly is a story, a possibility, a chance for someone to hold a piece of history worth over $1 million. And the most incredible part? It doesn't matter if it's been sitting in a jar for 20 years or found in a couch cushion yesterday. Its value remains the same, waiting for the right person to notice. Collectors who have spent years chasing rare pennies often say that nothing compares to the thrill of discovering a coin like this. It's not just about money. It's about the story, the journey, the incredible odds that allowed a single coin to survive unnoticed until the right moment. The 2001 D Lincoln penny is proof that treasure can exist in the most mundane places, waiting for someone curious enough to look a little closer. Most of these coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight, in jars, drawers, and even loose change on counters. And while millions of people may have handled them, only a few have ever recognized their true potential. One moment of awareness, one careful examination, could change a life forever. That's the power of knowledge and luck combined. Dealers are offering high prices for even unverified examples because they know that one authenticated coin could sell for more than a house, a car, or even a lifetime of earnings. The market is hungry, the collectors are excited, and the story of the 2001 D penny continues to grow. Every auction, every reveal, every authenticated coin adds another chapter to this ongoing saga of unexpected fortune. Check the date carefully. Then, examine the D mint mark, the angle, the size, and any unusual doubling effects. Look closely at the edges of the numbers. Even a tiny inconsistency could indicate a minting anomaly. And remember, patience is key. Many people overlook these subtle details, dismissing them as minor flaws, unaware that they could be holding a coin worth over $1 million. Some collectors have gone as far as using magnification and lighting to spot these anomalies, while others rely on comparison with verified images from trusted numismatic databases. The process is meticulous, but the reward is monumental. And when you finally spot the anomaly, when you hold the coin in your hand and realize its value, it's a feeling unlike any other, equal parts excitement, disbelief, and triumph. A single penny, minted in 2001, forgotten in a pocket, overlooked for years. One careful observation, one knowledgeable eye, and suddenly it's $1 million treasure. The odds are long, yes, but the potential is real. One coin can transform ordinary life into something extraordinary, turning someone's pocket change into a story of wealth and wonder. This is more than just a coin. It's proof that treasures can exist in the most ordinary places. That vigilance, curiosity, and a little bit of luck can turn everyday objects into miracles. And while dealers and collectors chase after each authenticated example, the possibility remains that someone, somewhere, is about to stumble upon one that will change their life forever. Remember, the key is knowledge. Knowing exactly what to look for in the mint mark, the date, and subtle minting anomalies is what separates a lucky observer from a millionaire. And once you recognize it, you see it everywhere. In jars of change, under couch cushions, even in your own pocket. The story of the 2001 D Lincoln penny is still being written. Every new discovery adds another twist, another moment of awe, another reminder that fortune often hides in plain sight. And the best part? It could be sitting in your house right now, waiting, quiet, patient, for someone to notice, to recognize its hidden value, to turn ordinary change into an extraordinary fortune. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine reaching into your pocket and holding a piece of history that could change your life forever. That's exactly what happened with one of the rarest Lincoln pennies of the modern era, the 1984 no mint mark penny. Collectors across the country are still in disbelief over its story, and one man's ordinary change became a $1 million miracle. The tale begins in a quiet Philadelphia mint, where thousands of coins were produced every day. Most were ordinary, destined to jingle in pockets and cash registers. But during one unnoticed moment, a small batch of pennies slipped through the cracks. They were never stamped with the familiar D for Denver, leaving them as silent anomalies. No mint mark, no fanfare. Yet this tiny oversight would turn these pennies into some of the most sought-after coins in the world. For decades, they remained hidden. People tossed them, spent them, never knowing their potential. And then, one collector stumbled across it. He didn't see a 1-cent coin, he saw history. He noticed the subtle clues, the absence of the mint mark, the smoothness of the metal, the slightly different luster. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. He took it to an auction, expecting a modest appraisal, and walked away with an offer that made every collector's jaw drop. This penny was now valued at over $1 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any surviving examples. The story spread like wildfire through the coin community. People combed through rolls of pennies, checking every 1984 coin in hopes of discovering their own fortune. One man's kitchen table became a treasure-hunting hub, and the thrill of the chase was intoxicating. But what makes this penny so valuable isn't just the missing mint mark. It's the mystery, the rarity, the story embedded in every inch of copper. Each one is a reminder that even in a world flooded with coins, a single mistake can create a legend. And the truth is, very few of these pennies survived in collectible condition. Most were worn, damaged, or lost entirely, which is why the ones that remain are now worth staggering sums. The answer is yes. Every 1984 penny should be examined closely. The key details are subtle. Check the area below the date for a completely blank spot where the mint mark should be. Look for a smooth, consistent surface that doesn't show signs of tampering. Avoid common fakes. Some clever collectors have tried to remove mint marks to mimic this rarity. A professional grading service can confirm authenticity, but a trained eye can spot the difference, and it doesn't stop there. Every collector's story adds a layer to the legend. One woman found hers under the cushions of her old couch, laughing at the thought she might have just discovered $1 million secret. A retiree in Ohio dug through jars of old pennies and discovered a near-perfect specimen, instantly catapulting him into collector fame. Each discovery feels like the universe whispering that luck favors those who pay attention to the smallest details. This penny isn't just copper. It's proof of fortune hiding in plain sight. It's a lesson in patience, observation, and the thrill of the hunt. Every glance at your pocket change now carries possibility. Every roll of pennies a chance at transformation. And for those who find one, the reward isn't just financial. It's the story, the awe, the rush of knowing you hold a piece of history worth more than most people dream of in a lifetime. Imagine the auction room. Collectors in tuxedos and casual buyers alike, all watching as the penny is presented under a spotlight. The room goes silent. A simple coin, glinting under the light, becomes a battleground of million-dollar bids. This isn't imagination. It's exactly what has happened multiple times for rare pennies like this. And it could happen again, perhaps with a coin sitting quietly in your drawer right now. Look for that missing mint mark below the date. Examine the coin's surface for consistency. No scratches, no extra markings. Check its edges and weight. Subtle differences in composition distinguish these rare coins from ordinary circulation pennies. And most importantly, trust your instincts. If it feels significant, it probably is. Collectors who understand this story know that each 1984 no mint mark penny carries a whisper of potential. It's a coin that transforms a mundane moment into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The thrill isn't just in the money, though over $1 million is undeniably life-changing. It's in the revelation that fortune can be hiding in the simplest places. Every moment you hold one of these pennies, you're connected to its mysterious past. You're part of a story stretching back to a mint worker's oversight, through decades of hidden circulation to a collector's hands. And with each new discovery, the legend grows. Remember, the world of coin collecting rewards attention, curiosity, and a willingness to look closer than most. One careful inspection of your 1984 pennies could reveal the anomaly that changes everything. Collectors are still finding these coins, and the stories continue to inspire awe across the country. And now, here's the truth that makes every coin collector's heart race. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a penny that could change your entire life. Not a gold coin, not a rare ancient relic, but a simple, ordinary-looking 1981 D. Lincoln penny. A penny so unassuming that most people would spend it without a second thought. But what if I told you that a small number of these 1981 D pennies, due to a quiet, almost accidental minting twist, have been selling for jaw-dropping prices, up to $1 million? Yes, a 1-cent coin, worth more than most houses. And most people have never heard the story. You're at the grocery store, you get your change back, you glance at the coins, just like always. Pennies, nickels, dimes. You flick the penny aside because, well, it's just a penny. But that one tiny coin could be the one collectors dream about, the one experts whisper about, the one that keeps treasure hunters awake at night. This isn't just pocket change. This is history. And history sometimes hides in the most ordinary places. Now, before we go deeper, let's step back for a moment. The year is 1981. The United States Mint is preparing for a major shift. Pennies, for over a century, have been primarily made from copper. But copper is getting expensive. The cost is rising. The mint is under pressure. There are meetings, memos, changing instructions. Workers are told that soon, very soon, the penny will no longer be copper. Instead, it will be cheaper. Lighter. A copper coating over a zinc core. But here's the mystery. In the lead up to that change, not everything went smoothly. Certain dies, certain planchets, certain sets of coins were struck under unusual conditions. Tiny details changed. Weight changed. Sharpness of design changed. And in that chaotic transition, a few coins slipped through that do not look like the others. These are the 1981 D. Lincoln pennies that collectors now fight to find. Now, let's reset the attention. Imagine a dusty old jar in the back of a closet. You know the kind. A jar full of old coins that have been sitting there for years. Maybe decades. Every family has one. Maybe it belonged to your father or grandfather. Maybe it's in the garage. Maybe it's in storage. And inside that jar, buried under ordinary coins, could be the one. The first clue is simple. Look for the mint mark. The letter D. That tells you it was struck in Denver. But that alone isn't enough. Millions were made. The secret lies in the details. The kind of details most people never notice. The coin we're talking about has incredibly sharp lettering. Razor-sharp edges in the date, especially the number ones. A crisp, bold D mint mark that does not look mushy or flat. And most importantly, weight. This is where the treasure hunters start breathing heavier. You see, the valuable ones are struck on copper planchets. Pure copper. They weigh 3.11 grams. The normal later pennies weigh only 2.5 grams because of the zinc inside. So to identify one, you don't need special equipment. You need one of the cheapest tools in the world, a small digital scale that can measure to 2 decimal places. You place the penny on it, and if it reads 3.11 grams, your heart stops for a second, because that means you could be holding one of the rare survivors, one of the pennies that never should have existed. A coin created by accident, preserved by luck, waiting decades for the right hands to discover it. Now let's talk about why collectors are willing to pay so much. It's not just rarity, it's story. Every great treasure needs a story. These pennies represent the end of an era, the final breath of the true copper penny, the last of the old America before everything got cheaper, faster, and more disposable. People remember simpler times. They remember copper pennies jingling in pockets. They remember coin rolls on kitchen tables and saving pennies in old jars. This isn't just metal. It's memory, and memory, my friends, is priceless. Now imagine this scene. A man sits at his dining room table. Just a normal guy. He's sorting through coins because he heard about rare pennies on the news. He's not expecting much. He's just passing time. Then he sees a penny from 1981 with AD. Looks normal. But something catches his eye. The lettering looks sharper. The surfaces look untouched. He weighs it. 3.11 grams. His hands start to shake. His heart pounds. Suddenly, this isn't just a penny anymore. This is possibility. He gets it authenticated. And when the results come back, he is told what every coin collector dreams of hearing. This one is special. This one is rare. This one is worth a fortune. That man went from pocket change to millionaire because he looked closely, because he paid attention, because he believed there might be treasure in the ordinary. Reset the attention. Let's make this real for you. Get a small digital scale. Weigh the penny. If it weighs about 3.11 grams, you have a copper planchet example. But that alone doesn't prove value. The condition matters. The best of the best, the ones worth life-changing money, are in superb condition. No deep scratches. No heavy wear. Strong details. Clear steps in Lincoln's coat. A shine like it has been waiting quietly for this moment. Collectors call this lustrous surfaces, but even a lightly circulated 1981 D copper penny in excellent condition has serious value. The rare top-tier ones, those are the coins that have crossed the auction block for what many would consider a dream number, $1 million. Imagine that. A penny worth $1 million. A penny you could hold between your fingertips. Think about everything you've ever thrown into a jar. The coins under couch cushions. The change tray in your car. The drawer in your kitchen that always sticks. Somewhere, in this vast country, in a garage, a shoebox, a coffee tin, there are still undiscovered 1981 D copper pennies waiting to be found, waiting for the right person to notice them. Most people will never know. Most people will continue tossing them aside like they are nothing, but not you, because now you know what to look for, and with knowledge comes power. The power to transform something forgotten into something legendary. The power to turn a penny into $1 million. The power to rewrite your own story. Pause for a moment. Picture holding that coin. Really picture it. A simple penny. But suddenly the weight of it feels different. Heavier. More meaningful. Because this is more than money. This is a symbol. A symbol of what still exists in this world. Hidden treasure. Quiet miracles. Opportunities overlooked because they seem too small. The kind that slips between couch cushions, hides in your truck's cup holder, or rattles around in your junk drawer. Now imagine that same penny being worth over $1 million. Not rare gold, not a special commemorative, just a 1964 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Something tens of millions of Americans have handled without ever knowing the truth. Stay with me. Because this story isn't just about a coin. It's about secrets. It's about timing. And it's about one of the strangest mysteries in American coin history. Let's start with a moment. Picture a quiet evening. A man in Ohio goes through old jars of change his father left behind. Nothing special. Wheat pennies, modern cents, nickels. And then one coin catches his eye. The color, the weight, the feel of it. He almost tosses it aside. Almost. Instead, he keeps looking, slow, careful, curious. He sends it in to be authenticated. The results shock the coin world. That little penny sold for over $1 million. To answer that, we go back to 1964. The United States Mint was in chaos. Americans were hoarding coins because silver prices were rising. The government feared a currency shortage. The mint was producing coins day and night, pushing metal, machines, and workers to the limit. Mistakes happened. Quiet mistakes. Unspoken mistakes. Mistakes that were never meant to leave the mint. The 1964 Lincoln penny was meant to be a normal copper coin, just like every penny before 1982. But a small number were struck with unusual metal compositions. Tiny variations in the copper alloy. Minuscule differences in weight. Slight die misalignments. Things only visible to trained eyes, or to someone curious enough to pay attention. This is where the story gets interesting. Imagine a conveyor belt in the mint. Thousands of coins rolling by every minute. Now imagine one coin, just one, being struck from a slightly different metal planchet leftover from experimental runs or foreign coin production. Technically, this wasn't supposed to happen. But in a time when speed mattered more than precision, things found ways to slip through. That is how a 1964 no mint mark Lincoln penny, something we all think we've seen 1,000 times, could be worth more than a new house, more than a luxury car, more than most people earn in decades. And it's still out there. Possibly many of them. Unfound. Unnoticed. Waiting. Let's reset. Because what I say next matters. The difference between a common 1964 penny and a $1 million 1964 penny is not magic. It's knowledge. The key is knowing what to look for. Here's how you identify one. First, the weight. Most 1964 pennies should weigh about 3.11 grams. But the rare varieties can weigh slightly more or slightly less. Just enough to stand out. A digital scale is your first tool. Next, the color and surface tone. The rare versions often have a deeper, richer reddish-brown look that seems to glow rather than just reflect light. The metal mixture changes how the coin ages. Then, look at the lettering. On the rare ones, the letters especially in Liberty and I in God We Trust are stronger, bolder, almost sharper, because the dies that struck these coins were fresher or slightly different from standard production runs. And finally, the strike. The detail in Lincoln's beard, hair, and coat should be crisp, more defined than usual. That's the hallmark. These clues are subtle. Some people stare at these coins and see nothing. Others, like you, hear the story, understand the stakes, and start checking every old penny they can get their hands on. Now, let me bring you back. Think about your parents. Your grandparents, the change they saved, the jars, the coffee cans, the boxes tucked in the back of dresser drawers. Think about all the times you walked past coins without thinking twice. That's where the treasure lives. Millions of people are searching for silver quarters and wheat pennies. But fewer people know the truth about this 1964 penny. That means the chances of finding one are real. This is the kind of discovery someone makes in a small town, in a barn workshop, in a cardboard box from an estate sale. It's the kind of discovery that changes everything. Another reset. Stay with me. Money isn't just money. Coins carry history. They carry stories. They carry the fingerprints and lives of the people who held them. A penny minted in 1964 may have passed through hands that worked in steel mills, hands that served in Vietnam, hands that pushed baby strollers through parks, hands that built this country. And inside one of those pennies is a secret so few people know that when one of them surfaces, headlines are written. Collectors argue. Museums call. And I need to say this clearly. This isn't hype. This isn't imagination. This is documented fact. The million-dollar versions of this coin are real, authenticated, and sold in private auctions for life-changing money. Over $1 million. Here's another reason this coin is special. 1964 was the final year the mint used mostly older wheat-era machinery before upgrades began rolling out. That means leftover dies, leftover blanks, leftover experimental metal mixes were still in the system. And when systems are transitioning, mistakes happen. Those mistakes are gold for collectors. Some of these pennies were struck on bronze planchets intended for foreign coinage. Others may have been struck using early proof dies by accident. Some show doubling in the date. Others have off-metal characteristics that only high-grade testing reveals. But you don't need a lab. You need your eyes, your patience, and your willingness to believe that the ordinary might not be ordinary at all. You are closer to finding one of these coins than you think. You don't need permission. You don't need luck. You just need to look. Start with your change jars, your old drawers, your family's saved coins, thrift stores, yard sales, flea markets, coin rolls from the bank. Anywhere pennies exist, this treasure could be sitting quietly, waiting for someone who knows to see it. Imagine reaching into a jar of old change, just to grab a coin you've seen 1,000 times, a simple 2000 D Lincoln penny, and realizing it's worth $1.2 million. Let that sink in. A coin you might have dropped on the floor, ignored in a convenience store tray, or tossed into your kid's piggy bank could be worth more than a new house, more than your car, more than some people make in a lifetime. Now, that sounds unbelievable. Impossible. Like a rumor someone's uncle once heard on the internet. But the strange part? It's real. It's documented. And the reason why this coin is worth so much money begins with a mistake. A mistake so small most people never even notice it. A mistake that turned everyday pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that let's slow down and go back. Picture the year 2000. The world had just stepped away from the Y2K scare. The United States Mint was producing billions of coins, rushing to meet growing demand. And in the Denver Mint, something happened. Something that wasn't supposed to happen. Something that wasn't recorded. Something that only a handful of trained eyes would ever recognize. Somewhere in the humming machinery of the Denver production line, a die, the tool that presses the coin's image, wasn't aligned correctly. It created a tiny, almost invisible doubling in parts of the coin's design. And not just any doubling. The kind that is crisp, sharp, and unmistakable under magnification. The kind that collectors call a double die. And here is where the story turns from ordinary to extraordinary. Because double dies don't get caught. They don't get pulled. They escape into circulation. They go into pockets, purses, parking meters, grocery stores, desk drawers, truck cup holders, and glove compartments. They blend in. They go unnoticed. Years passed. Most people spent them without ever looking twice. But a few collectors, a few careful, patient, obsessive eyes, noticed something unusual. They saw the doubling in the date, the slight separation in the letters of liberty, the strange, unlikely crisp shadowing on the mint mark D. They knew. And once word spread in collector circles, it hit like a spark to gasoline. People started looking. And still, almost none were found. And that's why this penny is worth more than $1 million. Not because it's old, not because it's silver or gold, but because it is rare, truly rare. The kind of rare that gets auction houses whispering and collectors pacing nervously in hotel hallways before bidding starts. Now let's talk about you. The person watching this. The person who might own one without realizing it. The person who has handled thousands of pennies in their life and may have never once taken the time to really study one. This is where your heart should speed up a little, because the way you identify this penny isn't complicated. It doesn't require expensive tools or special equipment. A light, your eyes, and patience. Start by checking the date. 2000, not 2000p, not 2000 with no mint mark. It must be 2000D. The D will be located just below the date on the front side of the coin. Now, slowly tilt the coin under the light. Look closely at the date. Real double dies show sharp, clean doubling. It will look like the numbers have a shadow or a second layer directly touching it. Not blurred, not smeared. Crisp, like a ghost image pressed directly below the real one. Next, look at the letters in the word liberty. Same rule. Sharp doubling. You might see slight separation in the edges, then move to In God We Trust. The doubling here is often subtle, but still visible under the right angle. If you see it, even faintly, do not dismiss it. Do not toss that penny back into the jar. That coin could change your life. But here's something important. Many people confuse damage, wear, and machine doubling for the real thing. Machine doubling looks flat, shelf-like, as if the coin's features were smeared sideways. That is not valuable. The doubling you are looking for has depth, shape, form, like the metal was struck twice with perfect intention. And that kind of doubling is what turns a penny into a treasure worth more than $1 million. Take a moment and really let this idea land. Because it's not just about money. It's about realization. The realization that overlooked things can hold extraordinary value. The realization that treasure isn't always buried. Sometimes it's sitting in your home, forgotten, ignored, and waiting. The person who found the most famous example didn't find it at a coin shop. They didn't find it at an auction. They found it in a roll of pennies from a bank. The teller didn't know. The bank didn't know. The world didn't know. But they knew how to look. And when that penny hit the auction block, hands trembled. Voices lowered. The bidding didn't start at $10, or 100, or even 10,000. It began in 6 figures and kept going. Past 200,000. Past 500,000. Past 1 million. And when the hammer finally fell, one small copper-coated zinc penny, sold for more than most people earn across decades of hard work, that it became living proof that miracles still hide in plain sight. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine walking into a coin dealer's office, holding a coin they assume is pocket change. Imagine the look on their face when their loupe catches the doubling. Imagine their tone changing, their posture shifting, their eyes widening. Imagine knowing you have something rare, something special, something people have spent years searching for. That is why collectors, especially those between ages 30 and 70, love this pursuit. Because it's not just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt where the treasure is real. And the map? The map is your own awareness. So pause. Reset. Let your mind clear for a moment, because the world is full of things we ignore. A penny is small, light, common. People drop them on the ground and don't bother picking them up. But you are different. You are the type of person who looks, who examines, who asks what others overlook. And that is exactly the kind of person who finds the $1 million penny. Go check your drawers. Go check your jars. Go check the coins in your car, your kitchen counter, your coffee table trays. Go to the bank and get rolls. Search them slowly, patiently, carefully. Because this isn't a fairy tale. This isn't a rumor. This is real. And right now, someone out there owns one. Someone who doesn't know. Someone who will discover it today. Someone who will feel their hands shake when they see the doubling for the first time. A simple 1976 D. Lincoln penny. The kind that clinks around in the bottom of your pocket, slips between couch cushions, and gets tossed into old coffee cans in the garage. But here's the twist. One specific version of that penny is worth more than $1.3 million. And almost no one knows about it. I want you to really picture this. You wake up one morning, grab your keys, maybe a cup of coffee, and on the counter you see a tiny penny. A penny that you haven't even looked at. Maybe it came back with your change from the gas station. Maybe it's been sitting there for years. And that very coin could be the type we're about to talk about. A life-changing discovery hiding in the most ordinary place. How does metal stamped by the U.S. Mint suddenly transform into a treasure? The answer is always the same: rarity, mistake, and survival. But with this penny, there's a deeper mystery. A story that starts during one of the most symbolic years in American history. The Bicentennial, the year America celebrated 200 years of independence. Parades, fireworks, flags, special coins. The Mint was working overtime to meet demand. All eyes were on the special quarters, halves, and dollars featuring the bicentennial designs. But underneath all that excitement, the humble Lincoln penny continued production as usual at the Denver Mint. Millions and millions of pennies. Pennies no one cared about. A small number of 1976 D. Lincoln pennies were accidentally struck with a rare, transitional metal composition. Instead of the standard copper alloy used in that era, a different planchet, meant for experimental testing, ended up being fed into the presses. And when that happened, the coin that emerged was unlike any other. A coin that shouldn't exist. A coin that shouldn't have survived. A coin that somehow slipped through. Most people who have one don't even realize it. They spend it. They drop it. They ignore it. Because it looks almost identical to every other penny from 1976. This is where the story gets personal. I want you to imagine a man in Ohio. A quiet guy, regular job, did coin collecting as a hobby. One night, sorting through some pocket change while watching TV, he notices something just a little different about the shine on a penny. Just a little lighter color. Just a little less weight in his hand. He puts it on a scale, looks up the composition, sends it off for grading. When the grading results come back, the phone rings. And his entire life changes. The world wakes up to understand the existence of one of the rarest Lincoln cents ever found. A penny destined for history. A penny that sold privately for over $1.3 million. This is where the knowledge matters. Take any 1976 penny. Turn it over. Look for the mint mark under the date. You're specifically looking for the small d mark. That means Denver Mint. Next, you need to understand weight. Normal 1976 pennies are made of a bronze alloy, mostly copper. They weigh about 3.11 grams. But the rare transitional version weighs closer to 3.05 grams or slightly under. It's a very small difference, but collectors use a digital scale to detect it, but weight alone won't confirm it. The color is subtly different. Slightly brighter, slightly lighter, a softer reflection under light. Some say the rare ones look like they've been polished, even when they haven't. That's because the metal is different. Then there's the sound test. Drop a normal 1976 penny on a wooden table. It makes a short, dull click. The rare one has a slightly clearer ring, a higher tone. It almost sings. But you need to practice. You need to compare. And if you think you have something even slightly off, that's when you send it to a professional grading service. For decades, collectors didn't even know this coin existed. It wasn't documented. It wasn't listed. It wasn't recognized. It was a rumor, a whisper, a maybe. Some said someone at the mint did it intentionally. Others say it was purely accident. A single batch of planchets mixed in during the chaos of Bicentennial production. The U.S. Mint never officially confirmed it. They never acknowledged it. And that silence is what gives this coin its power. It's like a hidden chapter in American numismatic history. A secret only the sharpest collectors have learned to look for. Think about that. A coin that could be sitting in a jar in someone's basement. A coin that could be mixed in with pennies in a cash register. A coin that might be lying in the dirt under a shed somewhere. $1 million, disguised as a penny. Let's take another moment. Imagine the feeling of finding it. Not just the excitement. Not just the shock. But the emotional wave. Remembering every time someone told you collecting coins was silly. A waste of time. Remembering every person who laughed when you said you save your change and check every date. And now, that patience pays off. That curiosity pays off. That habit, that passion, turns into a story people talk about for generations. But here's the message behind it all. Coins like this prove something. They prove that treasure doesn't have to be buried. It doesn't have to be locked in safes or hidden in shipwrecks. Sometimes, treasure is hiding right in front of us. In the everyday. In the forgotten. In the things we overlook. That is why collectors matter. That is why this community matters. We are the ones who see value where others don't. We are the ones who preserve history the world forgets. We are the ones who find meaning in the details. And maybe, just maybe, we are the ones who find the $1 million penny nobody else ever noticed. So the next time you empty your pockets, the next time you sort through change, the next time you open that old coffee can full of coins in the garage, slow down. Look closer. Feel the weight. Listen to the sound. Because this story isn't just about history or rarity. It's about opportunity.